Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich. I serve this community as the minister. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to the Unitarian Society of New Haven this morning. Also in this service today will be David Jones, our worship associate, Jesse Greist, our director of Lifespan Religious Education, Jamie Ross making a cameo from her usual congregational administrator position, Sue Lindsley, who's a worship associate as well. We've got Christopher Grundy as our music director, along with the USNH Choir. Sylvia Lipnick will be joining us as a guest musician on oboe. And of course, Bill Braun, the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to him. So we start our services very often with something called Loved, living our values every day. And it's a time for someone to come and share a little bit about what's going on in the congregation and the different ways we're living our values as Unitarian Universalists in the world. So today I'd like to welcome up Shirley Dion, who will say a little bit about our grocery card program.
Good morning. I'm Shirley Dion, and I'm a member of the grocery card team, along with 5 others, and I'd like to call their names out, and if you're here, if you would just stand or raise your hand, please. Cindy Chelkin, Sarah Foreman, Joan Lane, thank you, Joan, Alita Manning, and our fearless leader, Ann Levinson. Thank you, Ray. Thank you. We've been selling grocery cards from what I can tell for easily 10 years, maybe 15, for cash or check after service. We've made some changes lately, and we thought it would be helpful to review all the elements of the program. First, your purchase of a card is an automatic fundraiser for USNH because we are able to purchase these cards at Stop and Shop and ShopRite at a discount. So we make 5% when we sell them on every purchase. Second, when you buy a Stop and Shop or ShopRite card, it's like buying a gift card for yourself. You can use it at face value, just like any credit card for your groceries, even your gas. And the cards are available in $25 and $100 denominations. Third, instead of keeping the card for yourself, if you would like, you can donate the card to either the food bank or Waverly, and you can elect to do that. Just leave the card with us, and we'll take it from there. Fourth, and this is what's new, you can now purchase Stop and Shop or ShopRite cards online at any time on our website. Just click on the grocery cards button and then pick it up at our staff table, which is every Sunday after service. The online option allows you to use a credit card linked to your PayPal account. There's a fee that PayPal charges for the credit cards. It's $1 for $25 and $2.50 for a $100 card. And you must add the fee to your total to pay, or pay us in cash at pickup, either way. Please stop by and see us, and at our table in the lobby, you'll notice it. It's got a large Stop and Shop sign there, and we'd be glad to see you. Thank you.
I would while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching, if I only had a brain.
I'd be tender, I'd be gentle, and awful sentimental regarding love and art. I'd be friends with the sparrows and the boy who shoots the arrows, if I only had a heart. Oh, I could tell you why the ocean's near the
the shore. I could think of things I never thunk before, and then I'd sit and think some more.
Yeah, it's sad, believe me, missy, when you're born to be a sissy without the them and voive. But I could show my promise if I be a lion, not a mouse, if I only had the knife.
Oh, love to get that thing off. Good morning and welcome. My name is David Jones. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm a member of the worship committee and I'll be your worship associate this morning. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your life's journey, you are welcome here. Welcome to this live and live streaming service of the Unitarian Society of New Haven. We are a diverse, multi-generational faith community that inspires lives of compassion and generosity, nurtures spiritual growth, cultivates transformative connections, and creates a more just world. This is a congregation that believes Black lives matter, that every person has the right to affirm their own gender identity and expression, and that all people are inherently worthy. If you're joining us for the first time, we're so glad you decided to spend this time with us. The email address of the Connections team is membership@usnh.org. I don't know, a little disconnection there, folks, but anyway, the Connections team, which was the membership team, is at membership@usnh.org, and you can visit usnh.org to find out more about us. In other announcements, come one, come all to our fall cleanup on Saturday, November 19th from 9 a.m. to noon. Stay for an hour or stay all morning. Fun tasks include raking leaves, pulling weeds, gathering branches, and mulching. No experience is necessary. Direction and training will be provided. So please check in your newsletter, and Shirley Dion is also available. Shirley, who did the announcements on our Stop and Shop cards, is also available to answer your questions. Jesse reminds us to please take a pumpkin home with you from out in front of the society when you go home today. Otherwise, they're just all going to sit there and rot, and it's more work for our sexton, Oscar. So help him out and take a pumpkin home, please. Also, don't forget that Saturday night we adjust our clocks to fall back an hour for daylight savings time. If you are here in person, please silence your devices for worship. While we hope the COVID pandemic is waning, we will continue to wear face masks to protect the most vulnerable amongst us. Now settle in, take a relaxing breath, and let us worship together.
A set of tools, a pile of boards, and a pair of hands do not by themselves a house create. A palette of colors and a brush are hardly a painting. So it is that hearts, brains, and all the courage in the world cannot bring us by themselves into beloved community unless we wield them with radical, inclusive empathy, understanding, and love. The tools lie right here before us. Let's keep learning to use them. The sturdy boards are eager to be joined. Let our journey yield fasteners and glue to hold them together. The palette of bright paints manifests in the curiosity of a child, in the boundary pushing of youth, in the lived experience of the elder. Let us mix them into an inspiring mural that trespasses even the edges of the canvas itself. Your heart, your precious minds, and your everyday courage have brought you here. Let us move ever forward, listening to the heart songs, the blessed ideas, and the bravery all around us. In that spirit, let us worship together. And now, out of abundant caution and fear of open flames, I will invite the Kyle family to come light our chalice this morning. Chewy, after. The chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. And as it is lit by the Kyle family, let us recall the words of L. Frank Baum. Never question the truth of what you fail to understand. For the world is filled with wonders. Let this light kindle a sense of wonder in each of us as we seek answers together with compassion and courage.
Covenant lies at the center of how Unitarian Universalists gather in community. We are united not by a particular set of beliefs, but by the promises that we make about how we will be together, how we will treat each other, and how we will seek to mend relationships when we fall short of our aspirations. For a while now, we've recited our covenant in a way that gives an overview of everything we promise. But for the last several weeks and for a few more to come, we're going to focus each week on one element in its entirety. Last week we highlighted using kind language. Today we'll speak aloud our promise to seek humor and joy. Please join me in reciting the words that appear in your order of service or in the chat on the live stream. Together let us say, we covenant together to create and nurture a culture of respect and kindness, and to engage in the spiritual and everyday practice of loving more generously. To this end, we will strive in part to seek humor and joy, remembering that these qualities can enrich all that we do, and by holding things lightly when we are able.
My name is Linda Pollock, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I invite you to rise in body and spirit in all the ways that we do, and join me in singing hymn number 1008 in the Teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place.
Thank you for that beautiful singing. My name is Jesse Greist, and I'm the Director of Lifespan Religious Education here. My pronouns are he and him, but for the purpose of this reflection, please enter a world, if you will, in which I am not Jesse Greist. I am the Scarecrow. Now, I heard once from the Creator who pieced me together, a person named Frank Baum, "No thief, however skillful, can rob one of knowledge. And that is why knowledge is the best and safest treasure to acquire." Now, as a scarecrow with a head full of straw, I've not always been known for my sparkling brilliance. But I do have to wonder if what Baum said is really true, especially in today's world. No one can rob us of knowledge. I wonder what Mr. Baum would say if he could spend an hour or two scrolling through Twitter or Facebook or even watching cable news. No one can rob us of knowledge. It leaves me with a perplexing question. What do I do if and when the people I trust to give the honest life guidance I need turn out to be hiding behind curtains? Curtains of made-up knowledge and unprovable facts. What if I'm actually being steered away from knowledge instead of being guided towards it? Now take it from me, this is no straw man argument, or, well, maybe it is. But the real wizards in my life have all pointed me towards some important principles that I hold dear to my heart. Sorry, Tin Man. It just so happens that the principles I'd like to spotlight this morning are the third and fourth principles of Unitarian Universalism. The third reads, "We covenant to affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth." In other words, we should all encourage each other to keep on learning and to gently, lovingly, but firmly question what we learn as we search for truth. The fourth principle calls us into a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Now, I am in possession of a diploma and a degree of experience. These documents certify that I have a brain and have demonstrated at least some ability to use it. What I do not yet have is a firm grasp of how to use this neural hay network. To flawlessly live in perfect harmony alongside all of everyone else's brains, ideas, priorities, and most importantly, other people's versions of truth. That's truth with a capital T. There seem to be a lot of ideas out there about how to approach this delicate subject. Some would tell me that I must always try to see myself in others, to step into their shoes in order to understand. Now, I think that's great advice, but I must admit that the shoe doesn't always fit. And I don't always know where they got their shoes from in the first place. Another approach is to balance logic and intelligence with empathy. If someone else sees something about our shared world in a different way, I can explain my view, but also rely on shared feelings to connect us across our differences. That's a great idea too, but it doesn't always work, especially when their point of view might bring up feelings of hurt or even past trauma in me, or vice versa. When I find myself hurt by another's logic, those hurt feelings can sometimes block the way of us connecting through those very feelings. It's all a bit confusing, but also inspires me that much more to find new, creative ways to try to live a principled life. I think in the end, the third and fourth UU principles are more about creating space than anything else. Space for minds to change. Space for truth to evolve. Space for connection. Space for us to explore the reasons why we may not be connecting. One thing that my life's yellow brick road has taught me is that I won't always connect with everyone. We won't always agree, but if we all create space for growth, learning, humility, and truths that can change with experience, we'll connect a lot more than if we just close our doors and stay in Oz forever.
Every week, we lift up the spiritual value of generosity by taking an offering for the ministries of this congregation. Our community continues, and the need for ongoing support continues as well. While the music plays, I urge you to consider navigating to the usnh.org website and making a donation. Donations can also be sent by U.S. mail to the Unitarian Society of New Haven, 700 Hartford Turnpike, Hamden, Connecticut, 06517. Those here in person can make donations on their way out of the sanctuary at the end of the service. The offering will now be gratefully received.
I used to get so stuck. I mean, it happened literally when I got all rusted and my friends had to oil my joints to get me moving again. But even before then, the world seemed as hollow as my tin torso, when I didn't have a heart. I'd go through my day chopping and stacking wood, wondering what it would be like to feel joy or sadness or anger. I imagined that everything would come alive, bathed in bright technicolor shades, instead of the drab gray of my existence. I've heard, though, that some humans who didn't need a wizard to give them a heart are afraid of their emotions. They shy away from telling people that they care about them because they're afraid they'll be rejected. Or sometimes they hide their sadness because they see it as a sign of weakness. And some people push their anger so far down that later it winds up exploding like lava bursting from a volcano. These folks might get stuck, like I was. I've called upon one principle in particular as I've learned more about emotions. The second UU principle reminds us that it's important to have compassion for people wherever they are in the journey down the yellow brick road. Just think of how different I am from Dorothy, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion. Yet we all recognized each other's longing. And when we did, we found companions for a difficult journey. When I put myself in someone else's shoes, and that takes courage, especially if it's someone I'm not very fond of, I feel my own heart getting bigger and beating more strongly. I understand the person more and can help them find what they need. Maybe they need justice for an unfair situation that has made them mad. Maybe equity would help them feel like they could be vulnerable without being taken advantage of. Or maybe they just need a friend who can give them oil when they feel frozen by fear. Back in Oz, the wizard told me that I was lucky not to have a heart. Hearts, he said, will never be practical until they can be made unbreakable. But I don't think the point of a heart is to be unbreakable. The point is to break your heart so wide that it has more room for love.
In this spiritual community, we remind ourselves each week that joy and woe are woven fine. Some of us bear burdens made lighter as others help us carry it. Some of us hold joys that shine more brightly as others reflect our delight. This morning, Bob Congdon has a joy. He's glad to report that after 3 months, Bob's appeal of a parking ticket at a broken meter in New Haven was successful. Hope it was worth the time spent, Bob. Another joy today is that the Halloween party yesterday was a big success at Unitarian Society for those who came. 18 Waverly youth also joined us, and a good time was had by all. Another joy I have this morning was my participation in our new to UU class yesterday morning in the library with Reverend Linda Susan and others. We had 6 or 8 potential new UUs in attendance. Please hold Amanda, James, Elsa, and Ben Erard, and especially Amanda's mother, Diane, in your hearts. Diane is in the ICU on a ventilator battling pneumonia and sepsis. Let's together take a moment to bear witness to all that the people of this congregation are holding in their hearts.
get one thing straight. It's other people who call me wicked. I'm not saying I'm a saint or anything. And I admit that sending the flying monkeys was probably out of covenant. But it's also clear that Dorothy, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Cowardly Lion forgot the principle that comes first for Unitarian Universalists. Everyone has inherent worth and dignity. Heck, even that pesky Glinda has worth and dignity, even if she did steal my sister's ruby slippers and put them on Dorothy's feet. We witches have long been misunderstood. We're usually portrayed as ugly, mean, and evil. In reality, though, witches have been the healers, the midwives, the ones who knew which herbs could be used for medicine. Many of us still are. We take care of the earth and celebrate the natural cycles we see around us, the seasons changing patterns, the moons waxing and waning, the sun's solstice and equinoxes. Some of us call ourselves pagan, but because of the prejudice we face, after all, let's not forget that Dorothy and her companions are the ones who came after me. Some of us haven't yet come out of the broom closet. That's why we're especially interested in the fourth principle. A truly free and responsible search for truth and meaning would allow us to practice our religion without fear of people trying to throw water on us. It takes courage to express your spirituality with authenticity, whether you're a witch or not. Stereotypes and assumptions get in the way of real connection. I like to think we could instead learn from each other and discover new possibilities that enrich our lives. Maybe I could even have helped that girl find her way back over the rainbow sooner.
Rainbows are visions, but I am Sue Lindsley, masquerading as the Cowardly Lion. I have always thought of myself as being very big and terrible, yet such small things as flowers came near to killing me, and such small animals as mice have saved my life. How strange it all is. I said those words years ago, back in a time when I was not at all comfortable with myself or my place in this world. I was born a lion, a prince among lions, truth to be told, and I grew up thinking one day I'd be king of the forest. My parents, friends, teachers, and even strangers expected me to be fierce and full of roaring bravado. Anyone who saw me instantly trembled and ran away. I could easily have used this to my advantage, scaring people into doing what I wanted or believed what I believed they should do. I observed that many rulers throughout history have used fear to make others obey. But inside, I was secretly terrified. When others saw my teeth and claws and ran away, I wanted to run away and hide with them. I just didn't feel like ferocity and fear were things to build a kingdom or even a presidency around. Especially since I felt that same fear, perhaps even more than they did. You see, there are 4 big ideas that I've always believed in. Call them principles, if you will. And these principles have helped shape my new life as a forest politician and helped me become not a fearsome dictator. First, I believe strongly in everyone having a voice and vote about the things that concern them. The UUs refer to this as the 5th principle. If I learned one thing from my time with Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and even the greatly misunderstood witches, it's that we're all better off when everyone feels listened to and heard. Most ideas are worth hearing and considering too. Even if everyone cannot get their way all the time, I have found that people are more likely to be open to others' ideas if they feel their own ideas have been considered as well. I also happen to believe that, contrary to my lion-like nature, sharp teeth and claws, not to mention my unparalleled strength, the world is actually best off when it is at peace. I, for example, enjoy nothing more than a good catnap, curled up in a warm sunbeam. But for a peaceful, fair, and free world to flourish, not to mention great catnaps, we need to remember that peace isn't just a lack of war. Too many people try to achieve that through dominance, but dominance nearly always brews conflict below the surface. I strive instead to seek peace through mutual understanding, comfort, and working to meet everyone's basic needs. My 3rd big idea, though it is technically the 7th principle, is that I don't see myself as above anyone else. I am part of what we all call an interdependent web of existence. I depend as much on the grass, forest animals, and microorganisms as you all depend on me to, let's just say, help with population control. We're all connected, and my leadership should reflect this basic idea. Take no more than what you need to live. That's my motto. Finally, having been born a lion, I realize that I have had great privilege since birth. I do not get stopped by the Emerald City Guards, and people just assume I'm king of the forest, even though I never aspired to such things and have had to seek courage from a wizard. Perhaps some of you have needed help from others too? Well, the 8th principle of Unitarian Universalism calls on me in my position of power to recognize that I have quite a bit of privilege, despite my challenges. As duly elected leader of the forest, it is therefore my honored duty to examine all the systems and structures in this place to ensure that everyone in that interdependent web truly has that all-important vote. And when I discover that they do not, I need to have the courage to do what I can to create safe space for the voices, to find their voice and take pride in living alongside lions.
Please join in singing hymn number 106 in the gray hymnal. Who would true valor see?
Before we click our heels together and say, "There's no place like coffee hour," please join me in the words that we use to extinguish the chalice. You can find them in your order of service or in the chat online. Together, let us say, "We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Blessed be.
The benediction today comes from Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Let us go forth, my friends, with courage and with kindness and be a blessing to this broken and beautiful world. Amen.